10 questions from one person. So I'm going to try to answer them really quickly. Hi there you have some questions. Number one, do you have a systematic training routine? Do you write it down? No, I don't write it down, but I do have a systematic training routine. I try to do it every 5 to 6 days, and I know exactly the amount of attempts I'm going to do, about 4 to 6 attempts, and I try to bring the grippers that I'm going to bring, usually about 4 to 5 grippers. I have a warm-up one, and then I have one that if I close, I'll go up to the next one, and that's how it goes. 2, what other grip training will help you close grippers? I mentioned a little bit before, but fat bar, open hand stuff, definitely gonna help with grippers, but it's gonna help you with grip in general, which I think is probably a more important goal for the most people, unless you're trying to certify on a very specific, gripper or challenge or something like that. For the most part, axle bar, rolling thunder, pinch, pull-ups with fat grips, deadlifts, all that stuff's gonna help a lot. 3, do you think training with grippers is more important than other grip stuff? No, difficult to answer that question. It's not black and white. Everyone's personalized. Everyone's an individual. So what may work for you in terms of the training may not work for somebody else. Now, in general, if I were to generalize, I would say no. I would say the other stuff is probably more important than the grippers themselves, mainly because of the more functional aspect of the open hand strength rather than the crushing strength. You don't really have a lot of uses as much as people think. 4, do you do bodybuilding training? No, I don't. How many grippers do you have? What's your favorite brand and why? I have about 20 to 22, 23 grippers in total over the last 2 years. I would say my favorite brand, Ironmind, I would say, just because it's the standard gripper, it's just a standard one, and you just wanna, that's the main one that people wanna certify on, so I train on that one for the most part, because if you start training on other grippers, you might lose the feel a little bit, and I'm not saying that's completely a bad thing, sometimes it's good to change things up, but for the most part, I would say Ironmind, and if I was gonna rank it, like, the 3 best, I would say Ironmind, GHP, and the standard grippers from Canon PowerWorks. I have tried the Robert Bear bands, and I have a unknurled Ketting gripper, which is impossible to close. 6, have you ever tried the U-shaped gripper or used it for training? He's talking about the Joe Kinney secret weapon, I think that's what it's called. I think it's a U-shaped gripper that's filed on one end, and I assume people used it for negatives, and I don't like negatives. I don't train it. I used to do it back then when I was, when I was pretty new, so I would just believe anything I was told, but I really don't think negatives are the way to go at all, and they're really not useful. It's a different kind of hold than you normally would do, and you could argue, well, I'm only doing it lightly, I'm not doing a severe negative. Well, you'd be better off just closing the damn gripper. So yeah, I don't use that, but I have seen it. I have seen other people use it, and I have seen those people who used it get injured. So I'm just saying, guys, if you're gonna train with negatives, don't fool around. You can get yourself injured pretty easily with that stuff. Trust me. 7, do you have interest in these narrow grippers, the Russian brand Silarukov? Do you think these grippers could be more comfortable or convenient for TNS, at least for you? TNS, I would say for the most part, most grippers are not that wide that I can't get a good grip on when I try to TNS. But thing is, I don't TNS often. I don't train that. For the most part, I'll do wide sets and credit card sets because those are the ones that I need for certification. So no, I don't do much TNS. Probably the most thing I'll do TNS is nowadays a 3 on a lighter day. I don't fool around with lighter grippers on my good days because I want to save the strength for the big guys, like the 4 and yeah. Yeah, I haven't tried that one, the Siluca, at all. But I heard they're good. Knurling and all that stuff. I heard good things about them. All right, 8. What the most easy handles to train? The thicker ones like the rubber bear bands, 20 millimeters. The thinner ones, some grippers with 60 millimeters handles. I honestly don't know. I mean, I would say for me, I just like. I personally like the. I have tried a bear bands, and I have tried a Grip Genie 6. I would say the Bear Band is probably more comfortable for me than the Grip Genie because, I don't know, the Grip Genies are a little bit narrower, but the problem is, even if they're a little bit narrower, if you have a bigger hand, it doesn't sit right in your hand. So it's pretty difficult to hold it, and it's pretty difficult to set it, find the right spot. But usually, if you can adjust to it, then you're not going to have too many issues. But yeah, I would say the easiest handles for sure are the regular ones, the Captain Crest GHP standard ones. Those are the easiest ones because I always do them, I always train with them. Trying to do the thinner or the thicker ones, they don't bother me that much, but it's a little bit annoying. So, now I do train with the Iron Mine Tug or similar, but I do have the Iron Mine Egg, which you can use for 2 fingers, 1 finger, stuff like that. You can even use it for your thumb. And yeah, I wouldn't bother buying those tiny grippers because usually it's just kind of a waste of money. I mean, the thing about isometrically training them, each finger, the problem with it is that when you're doing grippers, your fingers don't go isometric. Okay, they don't work isometrically. When you're doing grippers, everything has to go in one. That's the crushing strength. Everything goes. You see, the thumb even gets action in when you try to close it. So when you're just constantly doing things that isolate them, well, it might actually interfere with the grippers because you're going to lose that feeling. The feeling is more important than the strength for the most part, because the strength you can get, but you got to make sure you have the right feeling all the time. When you start messing with the feel, then you can be strong, but then you get to this little, and then you're like, I wonder why, there was that little left. And yeah, it was the setting, or it was you just didn't activate all of them at once. Yeah, just train grippers if you want to do the best at grippers. If you want to be the best at fat bar, rolling handle, then you train that. There's not a whole lot of carryover for that kind of stuff. You just have to train what you want to, compete in, or what you want to be the best in. And finally, 10. If you close this number 4, what could be your next gripper goal accomplishment to GHP 10? So if I certify in the number 4, probably the next gripper would be again the number 4, because number 4 can go from in the 190s to the 220s. That's a lot. It's a lot of poundage right in between. So GHP 10 that's a that's a long road, dude. I would say the 4, heavy 4s, and then working maybe with a filed 4, something, maybe something with an RGC that's between a 4 and a GHP 10, which you don't get a lot of. So that's going to be very difficult if I ever get to that point. So good luck in your training. Thanks. You too.